You're left a single mum, you've got 2 young children, you've got very little money. What did your mum and dad say to you? Did they encourage you to continue living the dream of a career in entertainment, or were they more realistic and saying, look, Kym, you better face up to reality here?
No, they absolutely wanted me to continue. When I fell pregnant with David at 18, I dreaded telling my dad. Oh, I dreaded it. Because my dad had been really poorly as well. My dad had a cardiac arrest at 49, and we lost him for 3 or 4 minutes and had to be shocked. And, you know, that was the most devastating time. Sorry. I'm very close to my dad, you know, and he was really poorly, and the last thing I wanted to do was make him ill. And I was so worried that he was going to be so upset that he was going to be ill. I remember me and my mum kind of talking, and actually he was fine, and said to me, but, you know, I want you to carry on. This isn't the end. You've more reason now to go for this than ever. And he's absolutely right, because there's no better reason than children.
In 2001, at the age of 24, you enrolled to study beauty at college. Was that you kind of accepting that you wouldn't make it in show business then?
Yeah, I had decided that that was my final year, and nothing had happened at that point. And I sat there and I thought, I have to change this life. I don't want my children to have this life. It was horrendous. I hated it. It was horrendous. And I wanted to at least know that I could afford to get a better place that, you know, was slightly warmer and wasn't damp, and, you know, and I wanted to do right by them.
So 2 weeks after you enrol in this beauty college, you find out there's an audition for a show called Pop Stars on TV. How did you discover that?
I was 24 when I got a phone call from my mum, who said, right, Kym, there's been this thing on TV. They're auditioning at Granada Studios for a pop group or something, and you're going. And I was like, Mum, I'm not going. Those kind of things. Do you know how many people be going for those? I haven't got a hope in hell. You're going. That's it. You're going. And we stood.
Your mum's like you, then, isn't she?
Yes, she is. She's a Rottweiler, my mum, a young version. But she, you know, we stood outside. What's ironic is I've kind of come full circle, because we stood outside Granada Studios where they make curry, lining up on a freezing morning in, I think it was about April or May time.
I mean, Pop Stars was obviously then a complete unknown quantity, but it was to become very quickly the biggest thing on telly. I mean, this is the show that produced everything from Girls Aloud to Simon Cowell.
But it was funny because, you know, I mean, it was a huge thing, that show, and, you know, that first single came out, Pure and Simple, and I remember going into, like, shops and they would put the single on because I was in there. I'd go,
yeah,
someone knows I'm here.
That must feel great, doesn't it? You're in a shop and they're playing your record.
Yeah, it was absolutely brilliant. When we found out we were #1 on the live show, it was just fantastic. It was the best feeling ever.
Pop Stars have made you and Hearsay a sort of national obsession, but the road ahead was to prove quite a rocky one.
Action!
Hearsay's first single sold over 500,000 copies in 1 week.
Pure and Simple became the fastest-selling debut single ever.
Pretty much anywhere we went, like, people wanted to see us.
In the UK, Hearsay was enormous. They were completely unique, and nobody saw it coming.
Their crowning glory was to perform at the Brits.
Bands worked for many, many years to get that live performance, you know, and we just kind of, we was in there straight away.
Just before we went out on stage for the Brits, we were standing, listening to the crowd, and we were really excited.
Guys, as you hear, it would be a waste if you didn't perform for us. Would you do that for us?
If we can sing live, then we will.
I wouldn't expect anything less from you.
We were up against our critics, but we wanted to go out there and sing as live as possible, which we did, sung everything live, and prove a point.
We got booed so badly, and it was all the record industry guys.
I think that there was a bit of a backlash in the industry. There was also a feeling that, did they deserve it?
The louder they booed, the more Kym was just like Sodom. She was fearless. she walked further to the front and sang in their faces.
Even though Hearsay were mega successful, tensions within the band were growing.
We all individually had our own arguments, and whether anybody else has said that before, I don't know. Maybe I'll be the first to say it, and maybe I'll get in trouble for that. I don't know.
Whatever tensions that people believe to be there, it is like a family, normal tensions.
But according to the press, the fights were a lot more serious.
We loved each other so much in that group that at times it could be explosive.
At the height of their success, Kym decided to leave. Instead of telling the band herself, though, Kym let the management do it for her.
I always felt that I was really close to Kym, you know, that we had a good connection, and I kind of felt that when she left, she hadn't sat all of us down to have that conversation, or she hadn't sat me down to pull me aside and have that conversation, and I was hurt by that, actually.
Why did you leave?
Many reasons. I was told by somebody who, at the time, I thought was very credible, that one of the band members had sold a story on me to a newspaper saying that I didn't want to go to a man to entertain the troops because I was terrified of being blown up, which absolutely was not the case.
Do you now believe that band member sold that story?
No. No, I don't. I don't. I think I did what I typically do, and I blew up.
So someone was winding you up, basically?
I think so. Bearing in mind, you know, times were difficult in the band at that point because we were feeling stressed, because it was evident at that point that things weren't going right anymore.
When you actually first quit the group, did you talk to any of the band members or not?
No, because I was...
You were so angry about what you thought had happened.
At what I thought had happened. And do you know what? If I caused them any upset or any, you know, and Danny said he was upset because I hadn't spoken to them, and, you know, I do really regret that. That was a big mistake on my part, because...
You feel sorry for doing that?
I'm really sorry for doing that. I'm absolutely, you know, I am sorry for doing that, because I know that I upset them, and I should really have gone to them and given them the benefit of the doubt, but my head was everywhere. I was an absolute mess at that point. You know, at the time, there'd been all those stories about me and Mylene and the fact that we were supposed to hate each other and blah, blah, blah.
Did you ever hate each other?
No, I never hated her. I've never, ever hated her, ever.
We heard there about the word explosive was used. I mean, I know Mylene well, and she's feisty like you.
Yeah. Listen, you put 3 girls in a band, there's going to be arguments, you know.
Physical fights?
Oh, no, not physical.
You never rolled around on the floor pulling each other's hair?
That's only in your fantasy, Piers. I was so starstruck in the beginning, and I remember seeing, you know, Bill Roach walk past, and I'm thinking, there's Ken Barlow. Oh, my God, there's Ken Barlow.